I'm Daniel Gross, and this is The Number. It's a special Friday edition. The number is 4, the 4 most ridiculous things in economics, finance, and business this week. Number 1, David Siegel, the 78-year-old founder and CEO of Westgate, which is a timeshare business, sent an email to employees saying he might have to fire them if they voted for President Obama. This is a classic 1% rant. Here's a guy who said they raise taxes, they make him spend money on health care. It just wouldn't be worth it for him to be in business. Now, Mr. Siegel is known because he's in this documentary about his house. It's called The Queen of Versailles. He and his wife were building the largest house in the United States outside Orlando. Were having difficulty completing it because they were running out of money and falling behind on their debts.
We never sought out to build the biggest house in America. It just kind of happened.
It's bigger than the White House.
2 tennis courts,
30 bathrooms,
full-size baseball field,
10 kitchens,
antique furniture,
90,000 square feet.
Oh my God.
No, that's not my room. That's my closet.
No way.
We're in line to do $1 billion in sales for the year. We're on top of the world. And it came to a screeching halt.
As my colleague David Frum noted, this guy Westgate, Siegel, his business depends on selling timeshares to middle-class people, the sort of people who would benefit if they had health insurance, and the sort of people to whom Romney offers nothing. So given his highly leveraged lifestyle, it's really not clear that he could afford to quit. And I think it's what they say about people who lived in unfinished 79,000 square foot houses. They shouldn't be throwing stones. Jamie Dimon, our favorite banker, this is the second one.
Right,
Number two, he made waves on Wednesday. He spoke at the Council of Foreign Relations, and he said that J.P. Morgan did the government a favor when it acquired Bear Stearns in 2008. Bear Stearns was a failing investment bank.
We were asked to buy Bear Stearns. Someone said the Fed did us a favor to finance something and stuff like that. No, we did them a favor.
The Federal Reserve lent $30 billion to an entity to help J.P. Morgan acquire it, putting itself and taxpayers on the hook for up to $25 billion. Throughout the financial crisis, the taxpayers and the government then did J.P. Morgan and all sorts of other banks a whole lot of other favors. They assumed responsibility for all those Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac bonds that J.P. Morgan held onto, making them worth something. The FDIC expanded deposit insurance, and then it guaranteed tens of billions of dollars of debt that was issued by J.P. Morgan in order to take advantage of low interest rates. And finally, the Federal Reserve has been giving banks like J.P. Morgan money for free for the last 4 years. So if this is what Jamie Dimon thinks he's doing us a favor by taking advantage of all these programs, we really appreciate it. Number 3. The European Union won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Despite a year marked by one of the worst crises in decades and repeated scenes of social unrest across the continent, the European Union has been awarded the 2012 Nobel Peace Prize.
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided that the Nobel Peace Prize for 2012 is to be awarded to the European Union.
Now, sure, they've done a really good job keeping the Central Powers from fighting one another over the past 60 years. But this is mystifying for a couple of reasons. Peace is supposed to go hand in hand with prosperity. And at this time that the EU is getting its prize, it's essentially in recession. 4 of its countries have required bailouts. One of its components, Greece, has been shrinking for 5 years. And by the way, in Athens, they are marching in the streets taunting the Germans for having been Nazis. Yes, the EU was a great force for peace in the 20th century, but when your competitors are Stalin, Kaiser Wilhelm, Slobodan Milosevic, and Hitler, it's not much of an achievement. And finally, the 4th and the most ridiculous event in business, finance, and economics for this week. People say business and politics don't mix, but Pizza Hut is jumping into the fray. So this debate next week, the next presidential debate, is going to be a town hall affair where average Americans can pose questions. Pizza Hut put up a video on its YouTube channel and said,
The next debate is town hall style, which means real people asked real questions. With that said, if someone asks a question about pizza during the next debate on October 16th, Pizza Hut will supply them with free pizza for life.
It sounds a little crazy. I mean, excuse me, Mr. Romney, how many Pizza Huts do you own? Or, Mr. President, when we withdraw from Afghanistan in 2014, will you leave behind the Pizza Hut at Camp Phoenix? On the other hand, this seems like a pretty low-risk, high-reward strategy for Pizza Hut. Free pizza for life may seem like a pretty expensive proposition, but what is the life expectancy of someone who subsists solely on a diet of stuffed pizza rollers and Hershey's chocolate dunkers? I'm Daniel Gross, and this is The Number.